Welcome everybody. Got a new intro for you. Today we're going to be playing The Last Stand. So without further ado, roll intro.
Mortem.
Welcome everybody. Mortem here. Just got the inkling to decide to play The Last Stand. Saw Markiplier play it some time ago, and I used to play it when I was in high school quite a bit. Flash games were pretty big then, so I just kind of wanted to return back to this one. I kind of feel like it's a classic when it comes to like free Flash games. So yeah, it's by Con Artist Productions, and this one's on Armor Games. Essentially, this game is like a zombie shooter. I decided to go with this as well because we've kind of hit some snags when it comes to getting you the Resident Evil content that I wanted to make for you. I decided after the first one that I wanted to get a capture card, which I ordered, and the capture card they sent me has been pretty useless. So I'm in the process of getting a replacement. So sorry about the wait, everybody. I'm just waiting on shipping, things like that. Something is controlling me. WASD to move, R to reload, space to switch weapons, escape for options, aim, shoot, kill, kill, kill. The Last Stand. I finished the wall today. It should hold them off for a while, I hope. Tomorrow I better look for survivors and something better to protect myself with. I have to get through the night first. This part is just kind of pretty easy. Try to aim for the head if I can. That guy, I could only get his legs, but I was actually aiming for the guy behind him, but the game didn't recognize that. Because this game's kind of older. It wasn't perfect, but honestly, it's a really good game. I mean, it's simple, it's kind of clever design, very straightforward. You kind of have a time management thing that you have to use for during the day. Barricade's 60%, we can do 5% an hour, so I'm going to do 4, 4, and 4. Weapon findometer, weapon gets found when it's full. Time searching for weapons adds up. I feel like this will be good enough for now. Got 20% repairs. We did find a survivor, but they don't have a weapon, so we'll have to find a weapon more later. Don't have any of the other weapons unlocked yet, but I'm sure I'll get those eventually. Looks like to give him a pistol, maybe? Yeah, I guess he does have a pistol. That's good. Trying to hit this guy in the head, it's just not going. There we go. Trying to get my clicky fingers going. Hoping that guy can hold his weight a little bit. Doesn't seem to be. A few bullets went over the head, but oh well. We did it. We survived. That's the point, right? This time we're going to spend 5 hours searching. Spend 1 hour looking for a survivor. Mostly we want to repair a barricade because it did not go too well. Some zombies carry weapons we can use. Okay. So we found a 3.57 revolver. That's good. We also found a survivor. So now we got 2 weapons, so I can switch between instead of having to reload everything all at the same time. This gun packs a bit more of a wallop. I like this one. I feel like this one's a little more worthwhile. There we go. Much better. Now it's 15% an hour because we got a few people doing it. So 3 would be what, 45%? That should be about full then. Search for weapons. Do a bit more search for weapons. Spend a few hours searching for survivors. I think in the newer versions of this game, found a UMP-45. Nice. That you get to equip the different survivors with different weapons eventually. And also you have to like look for food to be able to survive is another thing. I feel like the mouse sensitivity is really low for this game. I have to check after this and see if there's an option for it. This takes out their heads a lot better. Oh man. Oh boy, no. Ah, he didn't shoot. He stopped shooting. I was pushing the mouse button. Alright, well, did horrible there. I want to see about that mouse setting. Is there... Had to restart. I'm noticing my character is not exactly accurate. Where I'm telling him to put the bullets, he's mostly accurate, but not completely. Yeah, another reason why I wanted to play this was just because I thought it'd be a good game to play for you guys, where I could just kind of talk about some things that I've kind of wanted to talk about for a while. Like, as an example, I've talked a bit about how this channel's, Unisonus inspired. Originally it was Markiplier and Ethan that made me feel like I wanted to create a gaming channel, and Unisonus was something they had created that, if you're not already familiar with it, it's content that's no longer available because they actually deleted it after it was up for a year. They released a video every single day, and at the end of the year they ended up just getting rid of everything. And I was there, watched the live stream to see them actually delete everything, and it kind of hit me hard. Like, there were some of those videos that were really funny that I didn't want to have to see them go. And I feel like a lot of the fan base feels that same way. And I think one of the things about it that was important to note is that their motto, or well, I guess their idea for the channel was that it was supposed to remind you that, eventually you would die. And I get that. That was their theme. And it was dark and overarching, and I did like it, but I felt like the world at this point in time is in a place where we have the capability of Sorry, I'm trying to focus on enemies real quick here, because not doing so hot on my barricade. There we go. The world's at a place where I feel like we could save everybody on the planet from having to die if we all got more or less our act together. Like, I feel like we all could pretty easily, with enough support, make changes that we really need to make so that we could invest more in like science and health, and we could change things to where we could actually have like people just stop dying from old age. And I'm going to touch on a bit of a sensitive topic. I know some people won't like this, but hear me out for a moment. Stem cell research is something that people have really a bad taste in their mouth about it, because many people, and I understand their feelings on this, they don't like the thought of abortion. And it's, I understand their feelings on it 100%. But what a lot of people don't realize about stem cell research is that we're actually at a point where we don't have to actually have any more abortions happen in order to support stem cell research. We actually have, there's 2 embryos that were, embryos that were taken from like zygote stage, that these were taken like back in 1980 something, and we've grown those cells to a point where we have so many cells to work with that we can continue to grow those kind of exponentially to try and keep up with the demand for, growing the stem cell research field. So I mean, there's those 2 zygotes that they took. I mean, they've been, long since not even capable of joining this world. So it isn't something we have to continue concerning ourselves with. That sort of kind of, I guess, moral dilemma that surrounds it. I think I'm gonna die this night. But it's something where, science has evolved to the point where, the thing that's horrible about it isn't horrible anymore. And I feel that stem cell research is going to be eventually capable of keeping people alive potentially pretty close to indefinitely. Start over fresh again. I don't know what happened there, but for some reason I wasn't getting the things that I should have gotten. I was pretty sure I spent enough time on the things that I needed to. Maybe I was just firing too slow because I was talking. But yeah, the world is kind of to a point. It's possible if we upped the manufacturing of stem cells and had factories dedicated to just replicating stem cells. Nobody would be in any sort of moral dilemma over it, and we could potentially use those cells to work towards like curing cancer, all kinds of things. But people have such a bad taste in their mouth, they're not willing to support those sort of things. And I've read articles at times about people who've been able to fix like major medical problems through stem cells. I've read articles where people used essentially 3D printing with stem cells to print people new organs, and those people are, as far as I know, still alive. That's at least what the articles had said, but it's kind of cutting edge science that we can put more effort into collectively, and we can potentially get a lot out of it. And it's because of I think the politics in the situation that things really get distorted, and I like to try and take the stance of calming things down when it comes to politics. Like, let's not argue about it. Let's, we each have our own beliefs. Let's try to respect each other's beliefs and see, what we might be able to learn from the other people. And then from there, maybe we'll actually gain a mutual understanding. Let's talk about it. Let's be mature, not let's argue, let's fight, let's just kind of do what some people out there want us to do, which is just fight continually with each other and go nowhere. Their memento mori on Unisanis, that whole saying that they had of remember death. My thing for naming the channel Probability Mortem, like I have, is because I want people to be able to forget death. There's so many guys stacked up right here. There we go. Okay. Yeah, their thing was all remember death, and I want ours to be forget death. I want us to be able to get to a point that, since I've grown accustomed to people calling me Mortem through, my social outlets and everything, I chose the character Death for the purpose of being able to essentially be kind of that caricature. And if I'm Death, I'd love it if collectively I got put out of a job over it. Like, if the Grim Reaper never had to reap another person, that'd be amazing. And I know what you're thinking. Even if you save everybody from old age and cancer and sickness and those sorts of things through, mRNA for vaccines and stem cell research and all kinds of things like that, that's not going to stop murder. That's not going to stop, people getting just hit by a train or a car or planes or whatever. Like, those sort of things are still going to happen. There's still going to be wars and things like that. And yeah, you're right. There would still be those things. There's a lot more to it than just one simple approach. And that's something that I want to kind of flush out the ideas over. I want to get us to the point where we can all agree collectively on what we have to do together to get ourselves to the point where we are actually succeeding all together, kind of as a planet, not just individually succeeding and seeming to, be in competition with each other over everything. Like, there is a place for competition, but yeah, I'm gonna die this night. I don't know why it's not seeming to restart the game. I'm gonna try something real quick. I'll be right back with you guys. Alright, and we're back. I just reset the game, so reloaded the whole page that the game was on. I'm hoping that will fix the issue that we were having. But, as I was saying, I mean, there's going to be other conflicts, there's going to be other things that we're going to have to all work together to try and overcome. And I'm hoping we can foster an environment through this channel where, everybody can talk about things respectfully and, with as much education as we can provide to one another about issues. And one of the key things I want to put out there is that I think there's kind of a way to determine what everyone's going to need. Like, for example, a key thing that I think everybody needs is the ability to communicate. I think that's very key to being a human and to our survival. I think it's one of the very first like the utmost priority of like at least the American military, I think, treats communication as like the top of the top priority. And I think that's a correct approach. And I think when I get down to kind of actually flushing out those ideas, I think probably step one on how to be able to save the world is going to be communication. I want to inform everybody on better ways to communicate with one another so that we can all reach an understanding, and so that we can all better, succeed in the goal of saving the world. See, it's still not giving me any weapons. And there's someone lost from a search party rather than someone found. So I'm not getting what I should be getting, because I should have unlocked this, I'm pretty sure, with that. So I'm not sure what's going on here. It seems to have put me into like hard mode where it's not properly spawning in the weapons and things, which I think is a glitch that I remember from this game. Requires like deleting the cookies and resetting the game, I think. This grandma needs to just go with her saggy titties in a night dress. Just get out of here. And you got this Jason looking guy hiding behind the other dude. I'm gonna die on night 2, looks like. Yep. Yeah, I don't know what's with the game not seeming to... Yeah, I don't want this, so I'm gonna be right back again. I'm gonna try and see if I can get the game to properly reset. And we're back. Okay, hoping that this time it'll fix it. Don't know what it was that was giving such a problem. Can't read the options menu in this game for some reason. It's looking like the graphics got somehow like corrupted on the website that this game posted on, which is kind of weird. Maybe that was something that's just a hangover from when the game was still, new. But hey, we got him. So yeah, I'm gonna put 4 on each, because the first time I did that, I ended up with a survivor and then a gun on, yeah, people lost from search party 0, survivors found 1. That's what I was looking for. That should mean on the next night I will get a pistol. But yeah, I think communication overall is a top priority for anybody. I mean, I think if you're in a situation, let's say, where you're potentially losing your house because you don't have, enough income to supply yourself for your bills, you're potentially, not going to be able to afford food, things like that. I think in an instance like that, having a cell phone with, charge and some service is probably potentially going to find you somebody who's willing to help you. Like it's your lifeline. It's going to be your ability to get somebody to be able to help you. You lost a person from the search party. I did find a weapon, so. Oh, that guy's also got a 357, looks like. Okay, right now on the barricade. This is the last push, it looks like, of them. One last guy. There you go. Yeah, the communication thing, definitely a priority. Beyond that, I think the next probably step to being able to save the world would end up being, I think that we all would have to work on prioritizing things. I think that we misprioritize things based on feelings, and I think that's true of everybody. I mean, I know I misprioritize things. There's probably days I should make taking out the garbage a priority, but you know, on that given day, I just don't feel like it, and it's that feeling beating me into not being as good of a person as I could be. And I think that's going to be something that everybody's going to struggle with, that we're going to have to, you know, make changes and use the logic over the feeling part of our brain to make decisions that we might feel are wrong, but we're going to have to logic ourselves into how we get ourselves to accept those decisions as being, you know, correct. Those sorts of things. I think I can take that down one to be able to repair the barricade a bit more. 15% an hour, that's 30. There's 2, so that's 60. And another 15, so that's 75. So yeah, that'll get me pretty close to full. And then I hopefully won't lose any survivors because I'm not looking for more than 4 hours on anything. Yep, and then I found the MP45. Okay, so it looks like that finding survivors and finding weapons is something you don't want to push on for more than 4 hours. Happen to re-click the button after he reloads. It's bothering me. I'm still holding the button, so it needs to just start firing for me. Which actually the dog just made me think of something. One of the things that we I feel like misprioritize a bit is there's a lot of like groups for helping animals, and I get the cause. I love dogs, I love cats, like I'm very much an animal lover. The thing that I feel like I notice the most is that when it comes to prioritization, I hope that guy's not gone for good now. When it comes to prioritization, I feel like we should prioritize, you know, and it sounds selfish, but hear me out again. Like, stick around. You might get my logic behind it. And if you feel differently, of course, I respect your opinion. I get it. But one of the things that I think we would want to work on together, I'm hoping that'll even out, that since I'm not going over 8 hours, that's not going to screw me over, is that we can together, I think that might be too much, so let's do 6 and 6, because 6 times 15 would be 90, right? Yeah, we're at 5, so yep, 91, 0, 0, didn't find any weapons, but that's fine. One of the things that happens is that we, you know, prioritize charities for like animals and things like that, and I'm all for, you know, saving big cats, those sorts of things. But I feel like sometimes part of the issue is I feel like there's charities out there who don't spend their money correctly. Like, I feel like they're just, you know, basically hedge funds for rich people. And I'm sure, you know, they've got their 501c and they probably prove all the time that they're legit in some way or another, but I'm sure there's plenty of ways they can work around things. I mean, we've all seen the people with the mega churches who, you know, they have their 501c because it's for a church, but are they living the life? Are they, you know, living in a mansion? Do they have, you know, an Escalade with a, you know, extended cab so that it's actually like a limousine at that point? Like, yeah, they they do. Those people exist, and they abuse that system. And I think there's smaller abuses similar to that exist, and I just want people to be aware of them. I think this will be safe for now. Found a shotgun. Nice. Let's replace this with the shotgun. Getting further now. But I feel like we need to, more so divert money into charities that apply to things that people need, because there's still a lot of people out there who need things and are going through tough times, and there's just not enough money to go around to help them. And I think there's also, another thing with priorities, there's issues about like how we prioritize those people over other things. Like, for example, the homeless issue. There's a lot of issues with... Oh, he only reloads one at a time, so I should let him go. There's a lot of people out there who need... Let's flip back to the UMP after this. Who need a house, a place to live, and we have homeless shelters all across the country, and in some cases our tax dollars go to support those homeless shelters. However, we've also found out that economically that's not the proper way to do things. It's better if we just give the person who's homeless a new home so that they can have it themselves, and then have a place to call home, and have an address, have a place they return to every day after work. Like, it gives them a sort of security that just putting them in a homeless shelter doesn't. We all know that people aren't supposed to, on job applications, check the address for where the person lives and see where they're coming from. But do the people who actually give people those positions, those hiring people, do they potentially figure out where that zip code is, or figure out if that's the address to a homeless shelter, and think, maybe I don't want the person who lives at a homeless shelter at my work? Yeah, I'm sure there's people out there who have denied people a job just because they had this stigma around people who were homeless. And I honestly, I feel like that's horrible, but I'm under the reality that, yeah, that's happened. I'm sure somewhere that's happened. I don't know how many times necessarily, but I'm sure it's happened. And I don't want things like that to happen, if possible. Hoping I don't lose a survivor. Good, I didn't find any weapons or survivors, but that's okay. But I want the world to be in a better place than it is altogether. And I think to do that, it's a lot of us having to work together. And if we don't, I feel like we're just going to keep treading water at best, or drowning at worst. I don't want the world to be drowning. I want everybody to be succeeding. I want us all to be happy, in better places, happier lives. They all decided to leave. Great. I'm gonna die here. Yep. Well, it's hard to get past that one, but yeah, this is what I'm talking about, like the visual glitches. I don't think it's supposed to really look like this, because I can't read any of this menu stuff. Half of this is hidden. I tried seeing if I could drag over it to see the text, and I can't. So I don't know, it's something about this. Oh. Whoops, clicked out of the game there for a second. I'm back. yeah, it's something about the visual glitches here that I can't quite play the game, I think, properly, and it's causing me to run into some other issues because I can't see options in the main menu. They all are unreadable. Like, this is kind of how it ends up. Click options. I can't read any of that, can you? I can't read a thing. So, yeah, it's something about it with these flashy images and things that just kind of broke somehow. But, yeah, I think collectively, if we prioritized where we all put our money when it comes to charity, like if we put our money towards the basic necessities for people to a point where we could get it to where there's no more homeless people. Like, imagine if we all poured in enough money all at the same time that, let's say, overnight there was enough money in the right place that they were able to build homes, and a few months later there's just this big boom from all of these, companies and contractors that have been paid to build all these, smaller modular sort of homes for people of lower incomes or homeless people who need them. And then that issue's been solved. There's no more homeless people. We've made it to that point. Now we switch our attention, as much as just a day later, we switch our attention, and now we're on, okay, let's make sure everybody's got food. Let's find a food charity that we don't have to worry about any sort of backroom dealings with, some corporate farm or something. Let's just go with something we know we can trust. Find that. Everybody donates to it. It becomes something that nationwide or worldwide, we are making it to a point that nobody has any issues getting food anymore. We've donated enough money that we've gotten them to have a secure supply line of incoming food consistently, and we get to a point where the only thing we have to worry about now is simply upkeeping that money inflow. So you have just a few people who are on the same sort of idea path. They stay behind and they make sure they still donate their resources towards keeping that up. And if they need help, they tell us later. And then the next time, we end up going after things like making sure people have ways to be able to contact other people provided to them. Like, let's say we put enough money into some sort of like a communication charity where it gives phones, computers, internet access to people who can't afford it. People who are, in lower income housing, they can't get any sort of access otherwise. And we make sure that all of them, could have a cell phone, could have internet access, that they can have access to the same lines of communication somebody who could afford it would have. Then after that, we tackle issues like water, let's say. We've had issues in, take for example, Flint, Michigan. Flint, Michigan, as far as I know, I think they are still without clean drinking water coming through their pipes in parts of Flint. Like, that is a huge, huge failure when it comes to social systems that people rely on. It was a huge issue that we had. I'm going to go back into playing just so I have something going on here in the background, even if I'm going to die a bunch of times. But we had a huge, huge issue with people getting sick from lead poisoning because there was some, like I was mentioning before, there was some, backroom deals essentially to make it so that we ran into Flint having no access to clean water, and they had lead in their water, and then there was a big problem with the government cover-up, and if I remember right, there's even been some legal action taken against Michigan's former governor because of all of that Flint water crisis that happened. And I mean, people died from that. Like, somebody sold that water to somebody else, and as a result, because they were told the water was still clean, and people believed them, they ran into issues where people were getting lead poisoning, going to the hospital, getting sick. Some people, I think lead poisoning makes you blind, if I remember right. So some people are now blind from that. And there was a whole thing where there was a woman who came forward. She actually told people about the issue that was happening, that she was being told to change results by people above her to make the people who were coming in to get tests on whether or not they had lead poisoning. She was getting told to mark them down as though they were like safe levels of lead, when they absolutely weren't. They were like 2 to 3 times what was safe, and things like that. I mean, it was a horrible thing that happened, and I mean, my heart goes out to the people of Flint. It's honestly, it's a tragedy, everything that happened there. And that happened, let's see, wasn't it about it was over 4 years ago now that took place, that issue was noticed. It had been going on for some time before then, but that was when the issue got noticed. And you think about that and you go, wow, it's been 4 years and the problem is still not fully fixed. And I think issues like that need to be addressed. And I think the way that we address that isn't by just relying on what we've done so far. I think we've got to have more a grassroots, everybody, and their brother just coming out in force and saying, we want to fix these problems. Opening up their wallets and saying, hey, I want to donate to this charity that gets people food, this charity that, gets people a home, things like that, and really coming together, but doing it in the proper order. Because it doesn't work I feel like it doesn't work if we all just kind of randomly do our own charity here and there, where, each charity then isn't getting enough money to actually solve the problem. I think we have to do it in a sort of a way where we have everybody, donate to the same charity until that charity solved their issue. And the only other, I think, concern at that point is, making sure that there's some charities out there that we'd have to make sure have, at least the minimum they need to get what they need done, to a point that it's not gonna, backfire on us. Like, for example, let's say saving the wildlife or saving the environment. Like, yeah, that's an important cause. We all need, oxygen that we can breathe. We all need, to stop just pumping our fossil fuels and things into the air, and we all need, a planet that can survive. So do we need some money going into that? Yes. But what if we, collectively as a group, we threw all of our money in one pool, and we're like, okay, 15% of it needs to go to making sure that wildlife and the planet is protected for right now, so that we don't go backwards. And then the rest of it needs to go to fixing an issue. And here's issue number 1, fix people being able to have a home. Issue number 2, and work out which issue needs to be first for everybody to, collectively benefit from it. And then what issue is going to need to be second, what's third, and kind of do a little bit of research. That's something I want to do with you guys. I want to have times on my page where you're going to see a video come out and it's going to be not quite a slideshow, but closer to that, where I'm going to be going through articles, laying out some information for you guys, and trying to show you kind of why it is I think collectively everybody would have to do things in a specific order to actually save the world and do that prioritizing. And I feel like if we don't do that prioritizing, that we're just gonna stay in this endless loop of we're all trying to fix the world, but we're not doing it collectively enough, you know? We're all over the board, just not getting our game together. We're not organized, and it's causing issues. And I imagine there's probably some charities out there that I may or may not have heard of that try to do that sort of thing. They put their money into a pool and it goes out to other charities to try and solve those sort of issues. But I mean, it seems like the issues are still around to me. I feel like you probably have noticed plenty of issues on your own. And it looks like I'm gonna die again. Oh well. But yeah, it's something where I want to try and use this channel and this platform to be able to get you guys to the same understanding I have of where I think we can go from here, where everybody succeeds. And that's what I really want. I think that's the good-natured thing to want, is for everybody to succeed. I want you to succeed as much as I succeed. And if I can help do that, great. I'm, more power towards us collectively. Why am I not shooting all of a sudden? Where's my character not? Well, I've hit that glitch where my character's not seeming to shoot anymore. I'm clicking the button. He is not doing anything. So, glitched again. Let's go back to the main menu. But yeah, I want better for the world. I want better for you guys. True, I want better for myself. Yes. You can call me selfish if you want, but I don't want it just for me. I want it for you too. I will be getting more into kind of these sort of topics later on in the future. I just wanted to kind of give you guys a brief idea on, expecting that sort of content to eventually come out. I've talked with you, some of you personally, or followers, subscribers, about these concepts, and I feel like we've had some pretty good interactions, and I want to try and keep that going. I want to kind of keep this dialogue rolling. I feel like it's not a useless dialogue. I feel like it's something that can result in us together making some sort of a actual difference. And I know it's taken a while for me to get those sort of videos rolling out, and I'll be honest, I hate the time that it's taken to get those out, but I want to make sure the content as well that I provide to you guys doesn't, look like garbage. I want it to be entertaining. I want it to have more value than just entertainment, while also having the value of, looking professional. So if it takes me a little bit longer to be able to get that to you guys, I do apologize for the wait. I will be honest, I hate it as much as you guys do. But yeah, it's a long road we've got ahead of us. And I think we've got the tools to make the moves to accomplish this goal. We just got to get those resources. We've just got to get that understanding to everybody. And I want to work towards getting that to happen. I want to work on that first priority, communication. I want to communicate my ideas on this issue with you. And if you have something that you can teach me about it, I am more than willing to hear it out and learn. I will say, though, I am skeptical of things, and I think it's a healthy dose of skepticism. I always, myself, I will side with the science of a matter. Scientists are paid big money. They go to school for a long time to go out and find those testing situations and get those answers, and quiz thousands of people, and really actually try and find us full-on answers to the questions that we have in our lives about how our world actually works. And I will always trust them over my own personal experiences, because we all have those stories of, well, I went to the grocery store and I saw somebody who had the brand new iPhone, who was driving a Lexus, and they paid for their groceries with food stamps. Yeah, okay. You had that experience one time. You do not know if that person was perhaps a caretaker over someone who is not in that situation. They may be the person responsible for going to the grocery store and buying that person's food with that person's food stamp money. You don't know. You don't know that situation. It's possible. Maybe it is all their things. Maybe they are defrauding the system. However, I would point out that scientists, detectives, analysts have looked at the numbers, have looked into people, and found that there's actually a very, very low percentage of people who are defrauding the food stamp system. There's information out there. I will try to make it a point for this video. I will try to make it a point to put a link in the description for you to be able to find information about that for this one, so that I am providing you some information. But that's an example of how, even though we may have seen something, science has disproved our impression of what we've actually seen. Maybe that person was one of the bad ones, but that's one person in how many million that aren't defrauding that system. That's the sort of things that we have to look at. That's the sort of things that we have to focus on. Is it wrong to defraud that system? Yeah, definitely, of course. It's fraudulent. That's a crime for a reason. But is it something everyone does? Is the belief that that's all that happens in that system true? Absolutely, definitively not. And you couldn't prove that it was everyone if you tried. And I'm pretty certain it's not. There are people who need that. Ending the whole system, defunding the whole system, just because you've seen one person who you assumed was wealthy using food stamps to buy groceries? Is that the way we should make decisions as a community? I don't feel it is. I feel like we gotta think critically about those issues. And I hope that you will join me in looking into those issues and changing, if your perception was that that's how it is, I'm hoping that you will join me in changing that perception to notice that things maybe are not how we always imagined them. Maybe there are some fundamental things about how we understood the world that are just completely different than how they actually are. Well, anyways, I have used enough of you guys' time, so I'm just going to give you a quick reminder. If you've enjoyed this content, if you want to continue this discussion, feel free to leave a comment, as long as it's not something completely derailing for a comment. I will, try to leave it up. I am okay with you taking a different stance. Like I said, I want to talk about it. But if your comments are something that's going to hurt somebody else, if they see it, I'm going to take something like that down. If it's something that derails the whole argument that's been completely disproven, and the only place you've seen any actual evidence on it is just YouTube, you haven't looked up studies, you've kind of proven to me that the belief that you have is entirely ignorant, and I'm sorry that that's the word that I have to use, but that's the accurate word to use. I don't want to offend you. I try as much as I can not to offend people, but that's accurate in that situation. It's something that in those circumstances I would have to take it down, so that it's not keeping us from a future that I think we all deserve. And like I said, I want to talk about those issues with you guys. So like, subscribe, helps get the video out to more people. Watching all the way to the end is another thing that really helps. So if you can watch all the way to the end of any of my videos, it helps more people see them, helps me bring more content to you guys. Subscribing will help you stay part of this dialogue. It's all important. But enough on that. I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you enjoy some of my other content that's out there. I hope you stay safe. I hope you are well. I hope you have a good night. Ablevissi Mortem.